Today we will be reviewing the CWC Reissue Royal Navy Diver. As usual, let's start with some history. CWC stands for Cabot Watch Company. It was founded by Ray Mellor around 1972. He was the former managing director of Hamilton Watch Company in the UK. At the time, they had manufacturing contracts with the Ministry of Defense, and it is believed that he had started CWC to take over those contracts after Hamilton went bankrupt. To better understand the military need for waterproof watches, we need to go back a few decades first. These types of watches first became necessary for the British military in the 40s when Winston Churchill demanded that the English be capable of utilizing slow-moving ride-on torpedoes, much like the Italians were using during World War II. The pictured hydrographic survey watch was made to achieve this goal. Incidentally, those Italian frogmen were utilizing Rolex-made Panerais at the time. Small world, huh? By the 50s, the Ministry of Defense had started ordering Rolex submariners for various military divisions. This was because the Rolex Oyster case was the only truly waterproof watch available at the time. Omega Seamasters started getting bought by the MOD in the 60s. That being said, submariners were still being used and purchased up to the late 70s. Based on my research, cost savings were one of the primary reasons that the MOD switched over to CWCs in the early 80s. They were built to the same specifications, although their cases and movements were obviously different. As the decades passed, quartz watches and ultimately dive computers took over. It is thought that the automatics lasted from 1980 to 1984. Fast forwarding to 2002, Silverman's, a British military supplier, bought the CWC brand from Ray Mellor as he planned to retire. They have been releasing a modified version of the issued Royal Navy diver ever since then. There is a bit of controversy about the issue status of these watches. I believe they were never issued. The one being reviewed here is from the 2004 batch. The reissue no longer has an acrylic bezel like the original. It looks to be aluminum now. The lug bars are still fixed, and it has a circle T marking, meaning it has tritium paint. This is another controversial point, as tritium paint on watches has been outlawed since around the year 2000. The luminous characteristics do match tritium for what it's worth. The crystal is mineral, and the chapter ring is very shiny. The movement is an ETA 2824. And the dimensions are as follows. It is 43 millimeters wide without the crown. It is 46 millimeters long, measured from lug to lug, and it is 11 millimeters thick. On the case back, you can see numbers. The 6645 is NATO code for a wristwatch. The 99 is the NATO country code for the UK. The 923-7697 is the NATO stock number. Below that, you see a 156/04. That means this was the 156th watch made in the 2004 batch. It may just be me, but I find the crown digs into my left wrist. As a consequence, I have to wear it on my right. Here's a close-up of the dial and the tritium paint, and here's to hoping it ages well. Keep in mind that Silverman's have a later batch that was labeled as tritium but was in fact luminova. Even newer ones have a circle L for it, but that just looks wrong in my opinion. Keep in mind, though, that the drawback to the tritium is that you should not expect to have very good low-light visibility, but I personally prefer it that way anyway. As for my conclusion, as I stated in my military intro video, this probably will not appeal to hardcore military watch collectors. That being said, I love the history behind the watch, and I feel that it is tangential enough to the actual issued CWCs. Aesthetically, I absolutely love the sword hands, and am pleased that they have tritium paint on them. I know there's no guarantee that it'll age to a nice yellow-orange color like the originals, but at least there's a chance, unlike luminova. My main issues with the watch are, as I stated before, that the crown tends to dig into my left wrist, so I have to wear it on my right. Also, the fixed bars are limiting, but I did find some open-ended straps, as you see in the pictures. That's about it for this watch, and as usual, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out interestingwatches.com for more information. Thank you.